Sidney Crosby in the lineup tonight against Philadelphia. Surprise. 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 No. No.
Yeah.
Turns out, Sidney Crosby was rumored to play tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. But when you click the article, it was actually a link to The Onion showing a Photoshop picture of Sidney wheeling around the ice. Dee, did you think that was a tasteless joke or a funny prank?
I don't think it was tasteless, but I clicked the picture and I had a little chuckle, but it became tasteless pretty quickly, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I know that it was actually kind of funny. It was like a good troll, but I don't think anyone clicked that link and then was actually happy when they saw that. Like I got the joke instantly, but I never smiled at any point. I was just like, oh, damn, because I think everyone, just if you're a fan of hockey, everyone kind of wants to see Sid back in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it just, for some fans, I'm probably threw them for a bit of a loop.
Yeah, yeah. All right, next.
All right.
Yeah, go for it.
The Boston Bruins scored a touchdown tonight against Montreal. 7-0 on home ice. Do you think that they're truly ready to contend for the cup now?
I want two parts to that answer. Yeah, they're ready to contend for the cup, but not because of this touchdown beatdown against Montreal. I really like that touchdown phrase, by the way. It's amazing. 7-0. That is a pummeling. Yeah. I actually stopped watching the game when it was 3-0, but I don't know how to hand it got, but judging by the scoreboard, that's embarrassing. But I think that the Bruins are contenders, but not because of that, but because of Caberlet and Peverley. I was from the brief time that I did watch the game today, Peverley looked really good, and he looks like he might pay dividends for them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree that what they did at the trade deadline just made them such a strong contender, even with guys like Chris Kelly to kill penalties and whatnot.
Yeah,
they've got a really solid team there.
And they've also got a really ridiculous 1-2 punching goal. Because whenever you go into the playoffs, you always worry about your starter going down if you've got a crappy backup. But they've got Tuukka Rask, who took them to the playoffs last year, where they blew a 3-0 lead. But I wouldn't blame that on him, and he's totally a capable goalie.
Agree. Next,
pulled this from the Detroit sub, and Chris Osgood, 38 years old, trying to get healthy before the playoffs start to play some more games, maybe be a solid backup. But he's been placed on the long-term injury reserve by the Red Wings. And things look doomy and gloomy for Chris Osgood's career. Well, not doomy and gloomy, but is this the end for Chris Osgood?
38 years old, and they have Jimmy Howard now, who they just signed to a contract extension. I think it sounds like retirement to me.
Yeah, it sounds like retirement to me too, especially considering Detroit's already gone to Jimmy Howard as their number one. So it's not like they're aching for Osgood to get back. They're pretty much just hoping he gets back for a backup position or something like that.
Well, even their backup, Joey McDonald, I mean, his numbers aren't fantastic, but I think he's had a couple shutouts even, and
yeah, our friend was telling us the other day that Joey McDonald, his numbers aren't fantastic, like you said. But he mentioned that Joey McDonald spent a good deal of his career playing for the Islanders.
Yeah, that's right.
So you might give him a benefit of the doubt there.
Next. Corey Perry, 2 more goals tonight.
Yeah.
People have been talking about him a little bit for the Hart Trophy, but not really giving him much noise or much credit that he could actually have a chance. Is he making a case for himself?
I think he's certainly making a case, but not for. I don't know. You know, I was set on this a few weeks ago that people talking about Perry for the Hart were just out of their minds, but now I see him definitely getting nominated. If Anaheim makes the playoffs, he is going to be a huge reason why, and the Hart is about most valuable player. So I got to think he gets some consideration, especially if he continues to play the way he has.
I think he gets consideration. Anaheim definitely has to make the playoffs. but I think it's hard to say since how many people around the league could you nominate for the Hart Trophy? It's
That's what I was wondering. Who else would you nominate?
Jonathan Taves,
Yeah, yeah.
Daniel Sedin.
You know what? Honestly, I can't see any of the Sedins getting Hart talk because I honestly think that Kessler has been the Hart player for the Canucks this year.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I don't know. I think there's Price. There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay. This is a question that I'm gonna post later and see who comments on it. The NHL playoffs are just about to start, and this is the time of year where everyone makes their Stanley Cup Finals predictions. But I don't really want to do something that cliche on the show, so I thought I'd put a little twist on it and ask, if you're Gary Bettman, who do you want to see in the finals? You know, like, what's your marquee matchup? Like, the league has been really lucky in the past 3 years with Chicago and Philly, two big markets with young stars. And then the years before that, Detroit and Pittsburgh. So if you're Gary Bettman, who do you want to see in the finals this year?
I'm gonna take two words out of what you just said, and that's young and stars. And LA, young and a lot of stars. So you got Doughty, Kopitar, Jack Johnson, Brown, and I mean, these are all guys that are going to be there for a while, and hockey just hasn't really taken off in California, and you have three teams there with Anaheim and San Jose there as well, and I think if these guys make it to the Stanley Cup playoff final, then that'll be huge for California and the NHL. And I like to see them play Washington with Ovechkin and Semin and Backstrom and these superstars.
Yeah, if you're Gary Bettman, Washington's always a safe pick.
Yeah.
Exactly. LA, though, do you seriously think that LA could even possibly make it to the finals?
I give them a chance. I don't give them a big chance, but
What kind of chance would you give them, like, percentage-wise? I'm putting it, like, we're into decimals with me.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I think they've got some holes in their roster, and last year, they were about this good. And everyone was this year kind of expecting them to be, 3 or 4 spots above where they were last year, like challenging for the conference. But they didn't get Kovalchuk in the offseason. And they just haven't really seemed to find that gear. And they don't scare me at all. I'd love, if I was Vancouver, to face up against them.
I'm not saying that they have a huge chance. I'm just saying that it'd be good for the NHL, really.
Yeah. Well, I think that my pick would be two teams, and it's funny that you mentioned the California thing because it's two teams, one of which is in California, San Jose Sharks versus Boston Bruins. Partially for the California thing, the getting hockey bigger in California, and there's no bigger market right now than in San Jose. And you also got Joe Thornton versus his old team, and every single time he touched the pucks, there would just be booze galore in Boston, and I think it would be a fantastic rivalry to start. There's not necessarily the young stars that you'd normally see, except Sagan, Lucic. I can't really think of Couture, like young stars on San Jose. They're pretty much all seasoned veterans.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a fantastic rivalry for the league, and just the enthusiasm of the fans and the crowds would be contagious to watch on television.
Definitely. Okay, next. Tampa Bay has won 2 out of their last 10 games. It's tied for the league worst. Do you think this is a good team crumbling, or are Tampa's weaknesses finally showing?
I think that their weaknesses are showing. And I haven't watched enough Tampa Bay games to have a really confident opinion on that. But it seemed like even 25 games ago, when they were at the top of their division, people were doing, like, who are your Stanley Cup contenders? I think it was on CBC or TSN or something like that. And people were listing their 5 top teams, and no one picked Tampa Bay. And I didn't blame them. I don't know what it is. I just don't believe in them yet. And I've never really believed in them all season. I've kind of thought they've been overperforming all season. I think that this is kind of their reality check. But Yeah, what do you think?
Worry about their back end, I think. I'm trying to even think in my head right now who they have Hedman, Oland.
Yeah, they are a team of no-name defense.
I might be missing someone that's bigger, but
I think they had some kind of like big name guy back there that like stopped playing. Or
they
was
got
that...
Eric Brewer, didn't they, at the deadline?
Yes, yeah.
But
the guy I'm thinking of is Paul Ranger.
Yeah,
I think it's Paul Ranger.
I still don't feel like they're deep enough, at least to make runs against teams like Philly, Vancouver, Detroit, Boston. I just don't think that if we're talking Stanley Cup contention, I can't see myself putting them in there. But
yeah, the one thing that they have going for them is the potential play of Dwayne Rollison, and I don't know if you were really a huge hockey fan when this was happening, but the Edmonton run when Dwayne Rollison was playing for them was just absurd. He was fantastic in the playoffs, and he's, I think, shown glimmers of that in the regular season in Tampa, and glimmers of other terrible stuff too. But
he was a good pickup for them. I mean,
yeah,
they had to do something. So
yeah, they still have questions in goal though. All right, so we decided that Deandra and I are going to do this little game. We named it 2-on-1, because what we're going to do every day is come up with 3 hockey items. 2 are real and 1 is fake. And we'll alternate days on who gets to pick the questions and who gets to do the guessing. And tonight, Deandra picked the questions.
Okay, random facts. Number 1. Sergei Kostitsyn of the Nashville Predators leads the league in shooting percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2.
I know that one's. I think I'm pretty sure that one's true.
Okay, just wait. Number 2. Philadelphia Flyers are the only team in the NHL that does not have a goalie with a shutout this season. And the last one. Despite missing 25 games this season and being criticized for his offensive production, Mike Green still ranks 28th in points by defensemen this season.
Well, the fact that Mike Green is still 28th, like that's still pretty low. So like that's like still, I know that NHL.com, when they give the stats for the defensemen, they only list like I think 30 players. So if you're 28th in the league, you're still at like the bottom of that page, and there's basically a defenseman on every single team that's done more than you. But the no shutouts for the Flyers this season, that's ridiculous. And you say that they're the only team in the NHL that has
the only team in the NHL that does not have one goalie with a shutout this season.
Okay, I'm gonna go with that one.
That is in fact true. So you have Sergei Kostitsyn of the Nashville Predators leads the league in shooting percentage, is true. Philadelphia Flyers are the only team without a goalie that does not have a shutout this season.
Bobrovsky doesn't have a shutout this year?
Yeah.
Isn't he like... We were talking about him like potentially for the Calder the other day, and he doesn't have a shutout.
No.
Boucher doesn't have a shutout.
Boucher does not have a shutout. So false. Despite missing 25 games this season and being criticized for his offensive production, Mike Green still ranks 28th in points by a defenseman. He has 24 points in 49 games, and he ranks 60th. And last year he finished the season with 76 points in 75 games.
It hurts so bad because I should know all this because I have him in my hockey pool, and I took him early. I took him, I think there's 11 people in our hockey pool, and I took him in the second round, so like 14th overall or something like that.
Yeah.
Anticipating that he was going to get more than the 76 or whatever he got last year. It's just turned out to be the absolute worst pick I ever made. We got 15 seconds here, so quickly, Deandra, game watch, go.
Carolina versus Tampa Bay.
I got Carolina versus Tampa too.
They gotta win. Carolina has to win.
Absolutely.
And Tampa needs to show what they can do.
Yeah.